We're very excited because we have both committed our time. Time is probably one of the most precious things that you could ever give somebody. So we have committed 10:30 a.m. every Monday. You lose track of time, don't you, when you're working from home? So every Monday at 10:30 for however long it takes, half an hour or an hour, we have committed ourselves to you. So what are we going to be doing within this time? So we're going to pick a topic each week to talk about. What is it? How do you know about it? And to give you knowledge to empower yourselves. And then every week we're going to have 2 live volunteers. And with those 2 volunteers, we're going to be using energy healing, and we're going to show you how by using energy healing, you can reduce whatever the issues are. So, hello, for those who don't know me, my name is Victoria. I'm a qualified emotional code and body code practitioner through Dr. Brad Nelson. Dr. Brad Nelson has been working so hard over many, many years with all the different types of modalities that are out there, and he's put them into one little bag, and he's called it the emotional code or the body code on how to release people's trapped emotions fast and effective, and it works. And this is...
Hello, I'm Madeleine from Gentle Harmonies. I've been studying most of my life, really, and working with energies. I'm a Reiki Master-Teacher, equestrian Reiki, animal Reiki. I'm an advanced crystal therapist, teacher, mindfulness and meditation.
There's a big long list, isn't there? There's all sorts. I mean, you're in safe hands with Madeleine. We always call the Oracle, because if there's anything that you need to know about spiritualism, energy healing, crystals, anything, she has a vast of knowledge. You've got your own Facebook group as well, haven't you? What's it called? Tribe Body Body Healing Tribe. I'll put the link below. So if you want to join Madeleine's Facebook group, it's private and it's free of charge to join her group. And if there's any questions that you have that you think, oh, I want to have an answer to that, post them on there and she'll be more than happy to help you. So what is today all about? So what is energy healing? What is it? What is it? Where does it come from? What are the different energy healings? And more importantly, how do we get trapped emotions? So we've done over 200 cases, and we've had some great success, and we've been really helping people, and we've had some great fun whilst helping people as well. And what we find is the common thing is so many people coming to us and they say, do you know, I've tried Reiki. You know, Madeleine's a Reiki master, as I mentioned. I've tried Reiki. I've tried tapping, which is what you tap on your acupuncture lines. I've tried meditating and I just can't seem to calm my mind down. I've tried sound healing, colour therapy, affirmations. I've done yoga in all those different positions, but I just feel the same way. So why is that? So it's all to do with emotions and vibrations. So you might feel emotional fatigue, or you might have certain emotions that you just can't get rid of, or you might have some physical pain, stomach ache, headache, arm ache, hand aches, shoulder or backache, and they just don't seem to go. That can be because they're so deep rooted. We need to get something to be able to lift that emotion and get rid of it. So what are emotions? What are they? So as we can, I mean, obviously Madeleine's slightly older than me, so she'll probably have more emotions. So as we go through life, we collect all these emotions, whether they're positive emotions or negative emotions, such as laughter, sadness, joy, grief, love, happiness, depression. No matter what label you want to put on these emotions, we collect them throughout our years. Now, negative emotions can be just as important as positive emotions, because what happens is when we have a negative emotion or a feeling towards something, that's our internal health and safety officer to give us a red flag to say, oh, if we have that event again or experience that event, remember what happened, so don't do it again, i.e., put your finger on a fire. I don't know if any of you did as a child, when your parent will say, don't put your hand in a fire. When someone says to you, don't do, that says, try it. So if you put your finger on a fire and you burn your finger, that emotion is the pain and the feeling and what happened. So you now know, oh, fire, if I put my finger on a flame, I remember what happened, so I won't do that again. So that's just one example. But however, what happens is if we keep hold of these negative emotions, as I mentioned before, they can become deep rooted. So our emotions are generated by experience. So we have an experience in that moment. So whatever that experience is in that moment, that information then becomes stored within our body and within our mind, and it gets stored up with past experiences, a bit like a hard drive with a computer. So Madeleine's going to talk a little bit about the history of energy healing.
Right, thank you. So many people always said, oh, isn't this all modern rubbish and, came from the 60s and what have you. It couldn't be further from the truth. Energy healing has been with us since the earth was created, basically. So how do we know this? I mean, normally they'll say you can only prove something if it's in a written word. And the oldest written word is Sanskrit, which is about 5,000 years old. But energy healing goes back way before then. And how do we know that? Well, you've probably heard about cave drawings. You go to these amazing caves in the Grand Canyon in the USA, for example. There's cave drawings all over the world, in Siberia, in New Zealand, in Australia, everywhere. And they found that cave drawings, for example, with talking about Hopi candling or ear candling, there's little drawings in caves, again in the Grand Canyon, where people have got these candles sticking out of their ears, similar ones in ancient Egypt, similar ones in Australia. And this is going back many, many thousands and thousands of years. I mean, way before planes, ships and trains and Wi-Fi and what have you. So how did they know that? How did somebody in Grand Canyon know about sticking a candle, or wasn't quite a candle then, but similar, in somebody's ears can help them? How did the Egyptians know how to use it? How did the Aborigines know how to use it when there was no communication? They didn't even know that their countries existed, let alone anything else. All to do with the energies. And the energies, everything is connected. We'll talk about that a little later with quantum physics. So it's just amazing to think, and I get quite excited about these things, just amazing to think that somebody like a Native American Indians, the Hopis, are still to this day a very revered tribe of Native American Indians who are great healers. And that's why some call it Hopi candling, because the healing, and they created a particular recipe, if you will, of making candles, which we still use today.
So how did they know then? If it was prior?
It was just, it's the energies. People, the ancients, used to work with the earth. They used to work with, they didn't really understand what wind was, because you can't see it, can you? You can feel it and see the result of it. But they believed and connected with the energies of the earth and of nature, and they just knew. They didn't question it like we question everything today. They just accepted it, and they were usually healers within a village or a tribe, and that was sort of passed down from generation to generation of how to do that. You'll have heard of medicine men in Native American things. You'd have heard of shamans, which are many thousands of years old. The Mayans, the Aztecs, the ancient Greeks, the ancient Egyptians, all over the world. And they just knew what to do. The ancient Egyptians used to use candling to prepare them spiritually before they did any spiritual work and healing. It just goes on and on.
It just goes on. I mean, Madeleine could sit here for hours and hours and hours and hours talking about the history and the whereabouts of energy healing, how the ancients used to know exactly how to do it. But I think the biggest thing that you just said then is belief.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. What we do now is we question everything. How I don't believe, because we can't feel it, see it, taste it, touch it, therefore it doesn't exist. So that's the same with energy healing. But we are going to touch on quantum physics slightly in a minute, which then talks about, well, how are the scientists now showing that this does happen and this does exist? So as I mentioned, what we're going to do is every week we're going to turn up, we're going to have 2 volunteers as well as talk about a topic. So our first volunteer is Laura, and she's already been in contact with us to let us know what her issues are, how long she's had it, what the pain scale is, and how she would feel if those issues were eliminated. Now, I'm only going to spend 5 minutes on each volunteer. So if you'd like to volunteer for next week's show, just contact us on members@gentleharmonies, and all you need to put down is what is your issue, what is the pain scale, 10 being the worst, 1 being hardly anything, how long have you had this for, and how would you feel if it was completely eliminated to a 0? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use some energy healing by kinesiology and use the magnets on the main meridian lines by connecting with Laura. So I'm going to show you how the process works. Now, obviously, Laura's not here. She's not anywhere to be seen. So how can I still do energy healing without Laura being here? Well, we're going to talk about how vibrations work, and energy does not have any time limit on space. So you can send healing, or you can have energy healing with somebody even without them being present. There's only one thing that you have to have, and that is their permission. You have to have their permission. So let's talk about Laura. So Laura says that she's been having this now for several years, and it's an ability she's having weight issues. So let's just talk about the weight issues, and that's what she's got. Now, Laura's weight issues is the symptom. What we're going to do is find what is the cause. What's causing you to have these symptoms of weight issues? Now, remember, we eat with our minds, not with our stomach. So we eat by association, and also we eat by habit as well. I think, they're saying that the average person has the same 5 meals throughout the whole lives. So we eat by habit. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to connect with the higher power or whoever that may be, just to make sure we're always working in teams, because to work within groups is always more powerful than working on your own. So I'm just going to ask for a little bit of help from the higher power to connect with Laura and also help us with releasing any unwanted emotions or whatever's coming up with the weight issue that she may have. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is double check that Laura and I are connected, and this is called kinesiology or muscle testing. So can I just ask, Laura and I, are we connected energetically? Now that's a yes, because that's a strong. Have I got permission to work for Laura? Yes. So can we use the body code app that Dr. Ed Nelson put together, which I'm qualified to use, to help find out what is the symptom to Laura's cause? So can we use that? Okay, so what is Laura's pain scale at the moment? She did say it was an 8, but let's just check that, shall we? Like a thermometer. Let's just check where a pain scale is. Is it a 10? All right, so I've got down, it's actually a 10. So it's quite severe. You can't get it worse than a 10 out of 10. So Laura said that she's had this for several years. So let's find out what's going on. So can I ask, is it on the left? Is it energy? Is it on the left? Is it post-traumatic? It's post-traumatic. So post-traumatic basically means that she's experienced something quite stressful. She could have had an illness. So is it physical trauma? She could have had an illness, a surgery, or some type of energy that's a negative energy that's been processed, that's got stuck, that's not been able to be released for her. It could be a shocking event, something that's quite stressful that could have happened. So let's find out how old Laura was when this happened. So was it before the age of 25? So was it 24? Was it 25? So it's 25 years old. Okay. So what I would do now is, if you imagine a corridor, so how we release trapped emotions is this. So you're walking down a corridor and we open every single door down that corridor to find out what's going on. What is the cause for Laura's feelings of the weight gain? And then we'll go back, release every single one, and then we'll reduce her pain scale down. But because this is just a live demonstration, I'm just going to release that one vibrational trauma, which is the physical trauma that she had when she was around 25. So can we please release this physical trauma when she's around 25? So I'm now going to use magnets on my main meridian line, which is Laura's main meridian line, but I'm just going to put out my intention to release the physical trauma that's caused to Laura when she was around 25, which could be 24, 25, 26 years old, that's causing the weight issues that she's got. Okay, so let's just double check that's now been released. Has that physical trauma now been released? Has it been released with love? Has it been released completely? So what's Laura's pain scale now? Is it a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6? So is it a 7? So it's a 7 out of 10. So our goal would be to get that down to a 0. That's what our goal would be. So within 2 minutes, we've gone from a 10 to a 7. So I'll get that emailed over to you, Laura, to what the physical trauma was, and let me know how you get on. So what are emotions and vibrations? What are they? throughout our Monday sessions, we're going to talk a lot about what are low vibrations. So low vibrations are words that don't serve you. Things like, I'm no good, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I can't cope, I'm not getting any love back, I feel depressed, I feel a bit shameful. All those kind of words are what we call low vibrational self-talk. So high vibration, I'm sure you can imagine what high vibrational talk is. I can, I am, I'm able, I'm worthy, I believe in myself and I don't need anybody else. Now, who's in charge of these words? Who's in charge of controlling these low vibration, high vibrational words? Who is it?
You.
Well, it's you. So why does everybody in the world not do high vibrational words? Why are we not doing it? Simple reason is because of our outside influences. Even though we're in control of it, our outside influences control our thought processes to such a degree. Through this time that we're going through at the moment, the news, so many people say don't watch the news because it's such a low vibrational energy, and it puts you in that state as well. I don't know if any of you have heard of Dr. Emoto. He was a scientist, he's a doctor who did a science experiment. And what he did, he got a group of 8 people from all different ages to stand in a circle, and they had a glass of water in the middle of that circle, just a glass of tap water. And what they did, through thought alone, they gave out love and gratitude, just through thought alone. Then what they did is, with the water, with the droplets of water, they put under a microscope and they noticed the crystals of the water, the forming were beautiful and it was symmetry. So similar to a snowflake, when you see a snowflake, that's what was happening. So if you can imagine the opposite of the experiment, which would be the 8 people of all different ages with this glass of water in the middle, and then was given out negative thoughts. So they put that underneath a microscope, and can you imagine what happened to the crystals? Well, they were disformed and there was no symmetry going on. So if you think about your body, our body is made up of over 70% of water with over between 30 to 40 trillions of cells. Mind-blowing. So that's why they say 90% of all emotional illness and physical pain starts with the mind, the internal thoughts. So every emotion that we think, feel, say, or absorb or listen to has its own vibration. Low vibration, high vibration. It's the best time now ever to be an energy healer because there's so much that's been backed up now by science. It's amazing. I've just mentioned Dr. Emoto. There's all sorts of scientists out there now that are doing various experiments to prove this. We are affected by energy, and our emotions are affected by energy because our bodies are just energy. So you've got some things to say about quantum physics, haven't you, Madeleine? So it's not me not just doing all the talking.
I'm really happy. You have to stop me because I'm really happy about quantum physics, guys. They're probably the new kids on the block with science. They started looking into the micro world rather than the macro world scientifically, looking at atoms and well, what's smaller than an atom? And that was around about the 1940s, 1950s that they started doing this. And they've had amazing results and mind-blowing things that people used to say to them, oh, you've got all that wrong, that can't be right. But now they're revered. They've proven that everything in the universe is energy. They've proven that something that can happen to a proton, which is the smallest point in one part of the world, if you will, can have a reaction effect on a proton thousands of miles away. No good going into the whys and wherefores of it, because as the guy who won the Nobel Prize for Science said, if you say you can understand quantum physics, you don't know anything about it. But lots of experiments have happened as well, where they've put a plant in one part of America and then a similar plant, a cutting, if you will, in another part, and quite cruelly they've gone close to this plant with fire, and these other plants hundreds and hundreds of miles away started reacting in a fearful way. How does that happen? That's unbelievable. And they've done it the same with human cells, not quite setting fire to them, they've done different things to human cells in one part, and the other side of the world, they've done to from the same human tissues, and they've reacted. And it's all because energy is everything. Every single, Vic says we've got nearly 35 to 40 trillion, ridiculous number. Is it 12 zeros? Cells in our body, and every single one of them will react to energy. And what happens in one part of your body will have a reaction, the other part of the body. What happens in Vic's body can have a reaction to me, which is again why we'll go through different absorption energies and so forth, obviously, over the weeks. But it's just amazing. And they're now proving what the ancients always knew and always believed, that anything is energy, and you just need to focus on that energy, learn how to work with it, and you can help it.
Now, there's three things that happen when you're experiencing emotion. There's three things. So the first thing is our body generates the emotional vibration to that experience, whether it's low vibrational or high vibrational. So happiness has its own resonance, has its own vibration. Sorrow, depression, or grief has another vibration. Every vibration comes with its own emotion, or should I say the other way around. Then what happens is when we begin to feel the emotion and any thoughts or physical sensations that come with it, that's when we start to resonate with it. So each emotion has its own vibration, and then that vibration goes into our energy field, which then goes into our physical body as well. This is what they call the processing period. And what they say is 20 minutes after a situation, we should eliminate that and we should be thinking about it. So, for example, if you're going through a traumatic experience, I'm sure there's quite a lot of us that are going through a traumatic experience at the moment, 20 minutes after that event, if you're still thinking about it, like playing the movie over in your head over and over again, what you're doing then, you're causing the interruption of the process. And those emotions are more than likely then to become trapped within your body. So that's how you get trapped emotions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Liz. I'm going to do our second volunteer, talk you through what I've done. So bear in mind what we've all said, energy healing, they become trapped. What do we do? So what I do by using my magnets and by using my thought process of intention, with that low emotion of that vibration, we use the opposite vibration, then it deletes it. That's how it works. Okay, so Liz is saying that she's got arthritis to her hands, arms and neck. However, her neck is causing her more problems than her hands and arms. It's an 8 out of 10 pain scale for her. She's had this over 20 years. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what is the cause to the issue. Remember, Liz's pain is a symptom of a cause. So let's find out what that is. So again, I'm just going to ask for a little bit of help from the higher power to join us to help release these emotions for Liz. Okay, so again, I'm going to check using kinesiology, muscle testing. Can I just double check? Am I connected with Liz? Have I got permission to work for Liz on her behalf? Can we use the body code app to find out if there's any symptoms to relieve the cause? Okay, so what is this issue that Liz is having with her neck, hands and arms, the arthritis? Is there a particular reason behind it? Is it on the left? Is it energy? Is it on the left? Is it on the left? Is it post-traumatic? Is it offense? Is it mental? Okay, is it on the left? Is it will to? No will to. Okay, so going back to what I was mentioned before, 90% of physical or mental imbalances start with the mind, the inner thoughts. So what happens is over time, we have lots of different habits. We tend to use the same language with ourselves. And Liz is using a certain language, i.e. no will to blankety blank, whatever that blank is. So I'm going to find out what that blank is. So what is Liz's no will to what? Is it column A? Is it odd? Is it 2, 4? Is it no will to change? Move forward, move forward. So no will to move forward. So what we would do, if this was a session with Liz now, we would then find out a bit more about that. Where's that come from? Where did it start? Where did it happen? So one part, remember, it's like an onion with all the layers of emotions that were taken away. One part of the emotions or feelings, should I say, for Liz, for arthritis, is her own internal dialogue. So her own internal thoughts of, I've got no will to move forward with whatever's causing this pain. So I'm going to use the magnets, and then I'm going to go down the meridian line to release this thought process of this vibration. So my intention is to release the thought process of no will to move forward. And this is for Liz. Okay, let's just check that vibration's gone. Has that no will to move forward? Has that now been released for Liz? Has it released with love? And has it released completely? So a pay scale was an 8 out of 10. Where is it now? Is it a 10, 9, 8, 7? So it's gone down to 7 out of 10. Okay, so that's Liz. I just want to make sure I'm disconnected. I'm disconnect from Liz. Okay, so that's Liz. So we've done 2 demonstrations there. Again, as I said, it's just very short, just give you an idea of how we can do this. So this is an introduction to what is energy, what is it all about. So Madeleine's just going to do a demonstration of how you can feel energy.
Yep, okay. If you'd like to do this with me, what I want you to do is just, wherever you're sitting at the moment, just wriggle them out, make yourself really comfortable. And then just put your hands together, your palms together like this. If you want to close your eyes, you can, but it doesn't matter. And then just take a slow, deep breath in, right down. And just release it and just relax your body. Looks like we're praying, doesn't it? And I want you to just move your hands apart, just a couple of inches. And just imagine between your palms, because you've actually got energy vortexes, chakras in your palms. So just imagine between your palms is, some people think of it as a golden light. Some might prefer to think of it as a balloon. And gradually just take your hands a little bit further apart and hold it, and then just gently, as though you're slowly pressing on a balloon, just push and retract your hands together, and slowly you should be able to. Some people feel a slight warmth, some may feel a slight pressure. If it's the first time you've ever done it, you may feel nothing. Don't worry about it. And then once you've got it, just slightly move your hands away a little bit further. Keep sort of slowly pushing them towards one another. Again, as though you're pressing on something. And until you're just on the edge of losing it, if you will, just while you can still feel that energy. And you can either ask for that healing energy to be sent to someone who may need it, or you can turn your palms towards your chest and put your hands on your heart and ask for that energy to go into your heart center. And that's it. Just keep practicing. Let me know how you got on.
That was really good. I really could feel that, especially when you pulse it with your fingers like this.
Yeah,
you could really feel it. Thank you.
Good.
So that's us done for today. Our first ever live Facebook show was quite interesting, which was all about the introduction to what is energy healing. So let's just go through what we've explained. So we explained what is the definition of emotions. So emotions are just what we absorb over our years of lives, wherever the emotion is. That each emotion has its own vibration, its own frequency level, and you have high vibrations and you have low vibrations. So just try and put into practice, be consciously aware of your internal dialogue. What is your thoughts? Are you having low vibrational talks, high vibrational talks? It's impossible to have nothing. It's impossible to completely eliminate low vibrational self-talk. It's not possible to do that. But what we need to do is, what is the percentage? Is the percentage of low vibrational talk more than the high vibrational talk? And if that is, how's that serving you? Let's talk about how we can switch that over. So become consciously aware. And that's why they use affirmations, which we'll talk about on one of our shows. So just become conscious aware of what you're saying. The history of energy healing, Madeleine spoke about, is thousands and thousands of years. They're started in caves. There's a Sanskrit word, which is over 5,000 years, which a lot of you probably heard of the word Sanskrit. The Sanskrit wheels. How do we get trapped emotions? I mentioned there's 3 things that happen. First thing is each emotion has its vibration. Second thing is we absorb that vibration. The third thing is we should release it. If we don't release it, it then becomes trapped and it becomes deep-rooted. We then did a demonstration on Laura. She was mentioning that she's got issues around her weight. And we found, there was a physical trauma that happened when she was about 25. And that pain scale has gone from a 10 to a 7. So if you're really interested and you want to have a session all on your own, we do a taster session for £30, which is just a whole hour just dedicated to you, where I will release whatever issues that keep on coming up to reduce that pain scale. And our goal is to reduce it down to 0. Plus, you'll have a one-to-one guided meditation with Madeleine at the end of it. We also discussed about quantum physics. As I mentioned, it's such a great time at the moment now to be an energy healer because so many scientists are doing various different experiments. I spoke about Dr. Emoto. There's loads of different scientists that are doing experiments about how energy really works and how they can show it can work. Then we did a demonstration on Liz, which is arthritis to her neck. And this was her own internal dialogue of saying she's not able to move forward. And her issue has gone from an 8 out of 10 to a 7 out of 10. And then we Madeleine did the demonstration of how to feel energy. You can feel it as a ball and you can really feel that. Let us know if you did that demonstration and let us know if you felt any colours, because different colours will represent things, because colours also have their own vibrations. So let us know, comment below if you saw any colours: gold, red, yellow, orange, green, blue, indigo, whatever colour you felt when you was doing that. Just comment below what it is and we'll let you know what that represents. So we're always looking for 2 volunteers every week. So if you'd like to volunteer, email members at gentleharmonies.co.uk with just 4 things, which is: what is your issue? Pain scale out of 10, 10 being the worst. How long have you had it for? I can't keep my little finger down. And the last one is: how would you feel if that issue completely went? Now, our next show next week will be all about how can you be born with trapped emotions? How can you be born with trapped emotions, i.e. inherited trapped emotions?
That's really interesting.
So what we've done, we've also put together a free chakra quiz, which I'll link below. So take the free chakra quiz, and from that, I'll email over to you what your results are. What we'll do is we'll send you 4 quick and easy methods on how to rebalance your chakra. It's been lovely being with you.
Take care.
All the best.
Bye-bye.